If you've ever been jolted awake at 2 in the morning by a cramp that grips your calf like a vice, you already know there's nothing quiet about it. Your leg locks up, your breath catches, and for a few seconds, you're just lying there waiting for it to let go. And here's the thing, most people just shake it off, rub their leg, maybe stretch a little, and go back to sleep. They never stop to ask why it keeps happening. Tonight, we're going to slow down and actually answer that question, because what's happening in that moment is more interesting and more useful to understand than most people realize. Welcome back to Prime Health Lab. If you're new here, this is the place where we take the health questions that nobody really explains properly, and we break them down in plain language, using real science, so you can actually do something about them. No fear tactics, no confusion, just clear answers. So let's get into it. The first thing you need to understand is that your leg cramps and what we call sciatica are connected through one long structure running down your body, your sciatic nerve. This is the longest, thickest nerve you have. It starts in your lower back, runs underneath your glute muscle, and travels all the way down the back of your leg to your foot. Think of it like the main electrical cable running from a breaker box in your basement all the way out to a lamp on the other side of the house. As long as that cable is clear and untouched, the signal runs smoothly and the lamp works exactly the way it should. But if something presses on that cable anywhere along its path, a stack of boxes leaning against it, a kink where it bends around a corner, the signal traveling through it gets disrupted. Sometimes the lamp flickers. Sometimes it doesn't turn on the way it's supposed to. Sometimes you get strange little surges. Your sciatic nerve works the same way. When something in your lower back, a disc that's lost some of its cushioning, a narrowing of the space the nerve passes through, or a tight muscle pressing against it, puts pressure on that nerve, the signal traveling down your leg gets distorted. And one of the ways your body can express that distortion is through an involuntary muscle contraction. In other words, a cramp. Now here's where I want to be really honest with you, because this is the part most videos skip over, and it matters. Not every leg cramp means your sciatic nerve is involved. Most nighttime leg cramps are actually caused by simpler things: mild dehydration, low levels of magnesium or potassium, sitting for long stretches during the day, certain medications like diuretics or statins, or just muscles that got more of a workout than usual. So if you get an occasional cramp in your calf and nothing else is going on, please don't panic and assume something is badly wrong with your nerves. That's not what tonight's video is about. What we're talking about is a more specific pattern, and once you hear it, you'll know exactly what to look for in your own body. Here's the pattern that suggests your sciatic nerve might be part of the story. Pay attention to where the discomfort starts. If it's not just your calf, but it actually begins higher up, in your lower back or your buttock, and then seems to travel down the back of your thigh before it reaches your calf, that's a very different signal than a cramp that just shows up in the calf out of nowhere. Nerve-related cramping often comes with companions. You might notice tingling, like a mild pins and needles feeling, or a patch of skin on your leg that feels slightly numb or less sensitive than the rest. You might notice it's almost always the same leg, rather than switching sides. And you might notice it gets worse in certain positions, lying flat on your back, for instance, or sitting in a low chair for too long, because those positions change the amount of space available for that nerve along its path. Now let's talk about why this tends to happen specifically at night, because there's a real, logical reason for it, not just bad luck. During the day, you're moving. You're walking, shifting your weight, changing positions. All of that movement keeps gentle, steady motion flowing through your nerves and muscles, almost like keeping a hose loose and flexible by moving it around instead of letting it sit kinked in one spot. But at night, you lie still for hours. Your spine settles into one position, and if there's already some pressure on that nerve pathway, lying still allows that pressure to build rather than get relieved. On top of that, your body temperature naturally drops while you sleep, and cooler muscles are more prone to involuntary contractions. Add in the fact that your blood flow patterns shift slightly when you're lying down compared to standing or sitting, and you've got the perfect setup for that nerve pathway to misfire right when you're at your most relaxed and least able to do anything about it. So now you understand the why. Let's talk about what you can actually do, because this is the part that matters most. The first thing I want you to focus on, and this is genuinely one of the simplest and most effective tools available, is gentle, regular movement during the day. I'm not talking about anything intense. I'm talking about standing up every 30 to 45 minutes if you've been sitting, taking a short walk after meals, and doing a few slow stretches that gently move your sciatic nerve through its natural range. One simple one you can try while seated is this. Sit toward the edge of a sturdy chair, straighten one leg out in front of you with your heel on the floor, and slowly flex your foot up and down a few times, almost like you're pumping a gas pedal gently. This glides the nerve through its pathway without stressing it, kind of like working a stiff zipper back and forth instead of yanking on it. Next, let's talk about hydration and minerals, because this genuinely makes a difference for nighttime cramping, nerve-related or not. Your muscles rely on a careful balance of magnesium, potassium, and calcium to contract and relax properly. When that balance is even slightly off, muscles become more likely to seize up, especially when they're already being irritated by nerve pressure. So drinking water consistently throughout the day, rather than all at once in the evening, and including foods like leafy greens, bananas, avocados, and nuts, gives your muscles the raw materials they need to function smoothly. Think of it like making sure your car has enough oil before you ask the engine to run for hours. You're not fixing a mechanical problem with oil, but you're making sure the parts you do have are working as well as they possibly can. Here's the interesting part. Many people overlook completely. How you sleep matters just as much as what you eat. If you sleep on your back with your legs flat, you may be increasing pressure on the lower spine, which can aggravate that nerve pathway we talked about earlier. A simple fix is placing a pillow under your knees if you sleep on your back, which gently tilts your pelvis and takes pressure off the lower spine. If you sleep on your side, placing a pillow between your knees keeps your hips aligned instead of letting your top leg drop forward and twist your lower back. These are small adjustments, but over weeks, they add up to meaningfully less pressure on that nerve overnight, which means fewer wake-up calls in the middle of the night. Warmth also plays a real role here. Applying a warm compress or a warm towel to your lower back and the back of your thigh before bed increases blood flow to the area and helps relax the muscles surrounding the nerve. You can think of this almost like warming up a rubber band before stretching it. Cold, stiff tissue is far more likely to seize and resist movement, while warmed, relaxed tissue moves and releases far more easily. Now I want to shift gears for a moment because physical health and emotional health are never as separate as we tend to treat them, and this topic is a perfect example of that. Stress and poor sleep don't just affect your mood, they directly affect muscle tension throughout your body, including in your lower back and legs. When you're stressed, your body holds on to tension, almost like clenching a fist you didn't realize you were clenching. Over hours of sleep, that built-up tension around the lower spine can add to existing pressure on the sciatic nerve and make cramping more likely. So, something as simple as a slow, deliberate breathing routine before bed, in for 4 seconds, hold for 4, out for 6, can lower that background tension enough to make a real difference. It's not a cure on its own, but it removes one more thing working against you, and that's exactly the kind of small advantage that adds up over time. I also want to take a moment to talk about consistency, because this is where most people give up too early. Nerve-related discomfort doesn't resolve in a single night, and it's not supposed to. You're not flipping a switch, you're gradually relieving pressure that may have been building for months or even years. Give these changes 2 to 3 weeks of genuine consistency before judging whether they're working. Small, steady habits, Moving regularly, staying hydrated, adjusting your sleep position, managing stress, compound on each other in a way that one big dramatic change never will. Now, here's something important, and I say this not to alarm you, but because being properly informed is how you take care of yourself. If you notice that the numbness or weakness in your leg is getting stronger rather than easing, if you have trouble lifting your foot or notice your leg giving way unexpectedly, or if you experience any sudden changes in bladder or bowel control alongside this leg discomfort, those are signs that deserve a conversation with your doctor fairly soon. Simply so a professional can take a proper look and rule out anything that needs more direct treatment. Most of the time, what you're dealing with responds very well to the kind of consistent, simple care we just walked through. But knowing when to bring in a professional set of eyes isn't a sign that you've failed at managing your own health. It's a sign that you're managing it wisely. What I really want you to take away from this video is that your body isn't working against you. That cramp in the middle of the night isn't random bad luck, and it isn't something you simply have to live with for the rest of your life. It's information. Your nervous system is telling you something specific about pressure, posture, and pathways, and once you understand the message, you're no longer guessing in the dark. You're responding with purpose. This is exactly the kind of strength I want this channel to help you build. Not just physical strength, but the quiet confidence that comes from actually understanding your own body instead of feeling at the mercy of it. You don't need to chase complicated solutions. You need consistent, informed habits and a little patience with the process. If this helped you understand what's really going on with those nighttime cramps, give this video a like so more people dealing with the same thing can find it, and subscribe to Prime Health Lab if you want more videos like this one, breaking down real health questions in a way that actually makes sense. I'll see you in the next one. And until then, take care of that incredible body of yours. It's been carrying you for a long time, and it deserves a little understanding in return.
Prime Health Lab is dedicated to men's internal health. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.